Hello, we are live. Thank you so much, as always, for joining. This is Cash Practice Training Tuesdays. And today, I'm just going to start by saying, and I've said this a lot, I will never not be amazed at how many people put big weight and stock in the words of complete strangers when it comes to making decisions about their healthcare or about any kind of purchasing decision. But online reviews absolutely have a huge impact or can have a huge impact on any private practice. And if you're trying to differentiate yourself and go cash pay, it's really, really important that you're firing on all pistons in this area. Now, I've talked about how to get as many of them as possible and how to, word your questioning of that person so that it's the most most impactful type of review right now, but that's not what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to tell you a very simple tactic that I just hadn't thought of, but I heard of today from one of my mastermind members in today's coaching call that we have every Tuesday. Now, this particular member has over 100 Yelp reviews and almost 200 Google reviews, pretty much all 5-star. And he does no real forms of marketing outside of that. I mean, he basically has capitalized on word of mouth and digital word of mouth. And just to give some context, he's been in practice for about 20 years, and he's been insurance-based this whole time. So all this time insurance-based. And then 3 weeks ago, I kind of worked with him for a few weeks before that to make the transition over to cash pay, right? And he went out just cold turkey, dropped everything, all new patients now, out of network, cash pay, $200 an hour. And with some coaching to him and his staff on how to handle those phone calls differently and how to answer the "do you take my insurance" question and a few other key things, he's killing it. And he's told me today that in the last 3 weeks, he's had about, I think it was either 20 or 30, either way, an amazing number, new patients that said, yes, I'm ready to come in, and 100% show up rate because of the way I've coached him on those initial conversations. So $200 an hour went completely from insurance based to completely out of network overnight, and 20 to 30 new patients in the last 3 weeks, primarily driven by Google reviews and word of mouth. And the tactic that he gave us today, that he mentioned today, was just so brilliant. I was like, that's freaking brilliant. And it's so simple and so easy. So first, there was a question, should I reply to all Google reviews or all Yelp reviews? And the answer to that is yes. I think, no one knows the Google algorithm or the business listing algorithm exactly. No one knows the Google algorithm, period, for sure. But, there's enough data out there where you can get a good idea of certain things that are going to give a positive impact. And I've read and seen enough that I would say, yes, just take the time to respond to all of the Google reviews that you get. That should boost that ranking. When I say that ranking, it's not like you're boosting your website on Google. You're boosting your Google business listing. So when you search for a service in your area, and the first things that come up often are that 3 or 4 kind of featured services that rank for that term or that service that you're looking for, and you see how many Google reviews they've had. You have the little map, that kind of thing. So obviously, boosting your Google listing can be even more important, I think, in some cases, than having your website, which is below those initial Google listing results, right? It can be even more important to be really killing it there than it is for your website to be coming up as an organic listing underneath, because that's also going to be underneath all the ads too. So people are generally having to scroll down to see the first links to web pages, but they're always going to see that Google business listing or that group of listings right at the front, at the top. So that's why this is so important. And so aside from just replying to all of the Google reviews that you get, this was his tactic. Use some Google keywords research. Do some research. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Just give you an overview. If you don't know how to do that, I'll teach you right now. But do some keyword research to find the things that people are searching for your service, and utilize those when possible, when you can do it where it's not going to read in a strange way. Utilize those in your responses to those reviews. So an example might be like, for him, he's a chiropractor. And if he wanted to, if he was able to, insert like Austin chiropractor somehow skillfully in his, response than he does. And, we have to be a little careful here. You don't, obviously, when people review or post a review, they're inherently, admitting that they're a patient and, they're putting out what they want to put out. But if they don't say like, you're working on their shoulder, don't mention that you're working on their shoulder in the response. Don't say anything beyond what they were willing to give up in the first place. So I just want to say that as an aside. But if you're targeting, someone was working, if they mentioned, they had an ankle sprain, and you did a great job on it, so maybe in your response, it can include something like that you found out from your Google keyword research that ankle sprain treatment is a really sought after or really searched keyword or key phrase. Then you can insert that into the reply. So glad you chose us for your ankle sprain treatment in the Austin area. There's obviously a lot of options, and we're so happy that you got such a great result. But that's a way that you can kind of skillfully include those key phrases or keywords that you want to target in order to boost your Google business listing within Google itself and those search results. So really quickly on Google keyword research, if you don't know how to do that, you can make a whole science out of it, but just to kind of keep it simple, you search for Google keyword tool, right? And then you find the keyword tool, and then you're going to start searching for the things that you are good at treating, the things that you want to target, your niche, the common injuries, anything that you want to target. You go ahead and do a search for those keywords, and it's going to tell you the search volume as well as the competition to rank for that term or that key phrase. And so that's going to give you some really good insights into, one, are there people actually searching for it? Because a lot of times we as clinicians, we think that people are going to be searching for, whatever, lumbar radiculopathy. And sure, there are, but you might put that in there, and then underneath it, a lot of the magic happens in the related searches. And you might find that, 20,000 people in the US a month search for lumbar radiculopathy, but 150,000 search for low back pain. And then the question is, well, am I going to try to target low back pain because it's a super, super competitive term, or maybe a longer tail keyword or key phrase, and say, okay, well, what about low back pain relief? Okay, are people searching for relief? Are they searching for treatment, right? Are they searching for pain versus solution? So you want to test and just kind of keep putting in all those different, a lot of times you put in one and you'll get your answers in the related terms. You'll see right there listed, this is a search volume and a competition for each of those. And what you're going to do is make your list of the things that have a pretty solid search volume, but aren't highly, highly competitive. I mean, if you're a small practice and you're trying to rank really highly for physical therapy in your city, and it's a densely populated metropolitan area with a ton of PT options and clinics, you're going to really, really have to work hard and probably pay experts to rank for that. But you might be able to rank for 10 niche, injury type or syndromes or things that you treat way, way easier than that. And the results of that are going to be so much stronger for your practice over time, because you can actually get on the first page 10 times versus working your butt off for 2 years to get on the page one time, on the first page one time for a term like physical therapy. And in a situation where a lot of people searching for that blanket term aren't necessarily going to be the type that are going to want to, necessarily go cash pay if that's what you're offering. So I would say niche it down, find those things, those terms, the related keywords that are well searched but not super competitive, and focused on the things that you can treat and make a real impact on. Get your list of keywords there that you can use in your Google review replies, but also, of course, applying that to your blog posts, your videos, all the different content marketing that you do. If you haven't done Google keyword research, you need to do it. You don't want to just be shooting in the dark. If you are doing content marketing or even social media posts, email subject lines. I mean, you got, again, we might think that everyone's going to be searching for ankle sprain treatment. We get on there and we realize, oh, wow, well, the lay population searches for ankle strain as much as they do for ankle sprain. Who cares if that's wrong to us clinically? Like, it's whatever's right is what they're searching for when it comes to SEO. So you got to do this research and don't just kind of go in and think, you know what they're searching for, because a lot of times as clinicians, we really don't. So follow this advice, get your list of keywords, make sure that you're replying to all your Google reviews, make sure you're asking for them. and fit in those keywords where you can in those replies. If this has been helpful to you, if this is something that you've not heard of before or thought of or used, please give it a thumbs up. If you're watching this on Facebook, I'd really, really appreciate it. And we will see you next Tuesday for Cash Practice Training Tuesdays.